All right. Everybody see this? Thumbs up if you can see it. All right, great. All right. Well, thank you so much for attending tonight, or if you're listening to this after on the recording. We understand that parents have choices when it comes to their child's education. And we want to tonight just make sure that you're informed. What can you expect if you choose to send your children to Woodland Elementary School? So tonight's presentation is just a general overview. In the spring, we will be hosting another Zoom meeting that will help parents understand more specifically about the TKK program and how to register new students. So as we were planning for tonight, our overview is what a typical year looks like at Woodland Elementary. And so we know that we're in COVID-19. And so we thought we'd give you just a quick update. Many are wondering, will we be 100% in person in the fall? And we are hopeful that we will. We are supporting students through the pandemic in, as you know, through distance learning, through a hybrid model. And although we do not have a crystal ball and we're not sure what fall is going to look like, I know personally I'm working on a committee with the superintendent, and we are planning to get students back in full-time as soon as possible. So we just wanted to address that. But now we're going to go through what Woodland Elementary looks like in a typical year. So first of all, to share a little bit, I want to take a minute just to talk about this. So when the PFO reached out to me, and especially being a new principal, about giving this presentation, we worked closely as a staff to identify these areas that we're going to share with you tonight. And in the room you saw, we have many teachers that are participating today, but the entire staff had input into what we're going to be sharing today. And the teachers will take a role in helping to share out different areas. So first of all, our mission statement: Woodland Elementary's mission is to provide students with a safe and nurturing school environment that enables all students to learn to their maximum potential. So safe and nurturing, we recognize that if a student doesn't feel safe at school, then they're not going to be able to do much learning. So that really is a big component of our school campus. I love personally that we are a TK2 campus. That is pretty unique. What a wonderful opportunity for our children to start in this real safe, nurturing environment. And then we're going to be hearing from Dr. Granger in a few minutes. But the transition to Kaiser, when they go up to 3rd grade, we make sure that that's a smooth transition as well. So let's get started. Let's talk about our student-friendly environment. And it really starts, if you look on the left-hand side of the screen here, it starts with hello. From the moment students walk on campus, they are greeted by staff monitoring the gates, and then by their teacher at the classroom door. And a similar process happens at the end of the day. That first greeting is so important. So I'm going to turn it over to Carol Gaylord. She is a teacher on our campus. She's been a teacher at Woodland for 22 years. She has 30 years of experience. And what I love is that Carol's own daughter went here to Woodland Elementary, and she is currently a high school teacher. So take it away, Carol.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm Carol Gaylord. I teach 1st grade at Woodland, and my daughter, with several of our other teachers here, went through the Woodland school process, went on to Kaiser, to Ensign, to Harbor. And my daughter went away to college and came back, and she now teaches at Harbor. So if you miss Mrs. Gaylord, maybe you'll get Miss Gaylord. Anyway, it is such a nurturing environment. And can I talk about the Pyramid of Success or no?
Well, we do have a slide for that later, okay, but you can certainly talk about just the environment.
Yes. So it is our environment. It's welcoming. We've always had so many parents involved, and that's one thing I think that kind of puts us separates us from other schools. And it is such a nurturing environment. So I know there are other teachers here that have had their kids go through Woodland and Kaiser and on, and it just, each place really prepares our kids for the next place. So we would love to have you come and join us.
And as Carol said, a warm and welcoming environment. And I think what makes us unique as we compare ourselves to some of the private schools too, is how much we include our parents. And we're going to talk about that, but our Friday flag decks, and you can see Woodland here, some pictures around campus. It just really is a very kid-friendly campus. And all of these things are focused on what we believe here at Woodland. So it's very intentional what we put on our walls and what we share in our environment. So as Carol mentioned, she's not the only one that's had her students go through Woodland Elementary. We took a little poll, and our current teachers, 43% of our teachers actually have had their own children go through Woodland, which says a lot about this school. If you're willing to put your own child through the school, then that really shows a lot. The next little slide that I wanted to share is just that climate of inclusion. Approximately 480 students from diverse backgrounds are here at Woodland Elementary. 11% of our students are English learners. Of the English learners, 73% of them are Spanish speaking, and 27% of those students come from other backgrounds and speak other languages other than Spanish or English. 19% of our students are on the free and reduced lunch program. Unique to Woodland also, we have 2 SDC, which is a special day classroom. They're specific where the students are very small class size. Unique for students specifically here at Woodland Elementary in an ABA classroom, and so specific to our behavior students who need support and behavior. Students in this specialized program, though, are mainstreamed all over campus. They're part of our lunch and our recess. They join the students as much as possible, the typical students, in the music program, in the science program. And then many are coming into the classrooms in areas that they're strong. And then again, they're supported with the behaviors. The staff and community really value the rich diversity that we have on our campus. Also wanted to mention at this time that a lot of what we do around diversity in our professional development, and our PFO has a new Diversity and Inclusion Council, which we're excited about. And some of the work that they're doing is supporting getting a rich library that includes books from a variety of different cultures. Anyway, lots of wonderful things that really encourage us to be kind and inclusive. The next slide I'm going to share with you is we're a TK campus, and so play is really important. So I'm going to hand it over to Michelle Lambright. She's one of our kindergarten teachers. She has 32 years of experience in education, teaching years, and 23 of them have been at Woodland. And when you see her, you're going to be like, what? How's that possible? Take it away, Michelle.
All right, so I've taught 23 years at Woodland. 3 of them have been in TK and 20 of them have been in kindergarten. So TK2, importance of play. Play allows children to use their creativity while developing their imagination, dexterity, and physical, cognitive, and emotional strength. Play is important to healthy brain development. It is through play that children at a very early age engage and interact in the world around them. So some of the examples of our importance of play: all grades, TK through 2nd grade, do the Bridges Math program. And included in the Bridges Math program are called workplaces, TK through 2nd grade, and they learn through playing games with dice, games with manipulatives, where they're building different numbers. They work in groups of 6 to 8 when there's no COVID. And right now, while there is COVID, our district has made each child their own learning tub with the manipulatives they need to learn to play the games. So we play against the teacher, we play against the students that are our table pod. So we've been playing the games even though we're socially distanced during COVID as well. During COVID, they go out every day for 10 minutes and they do games socially distanced on the field. And when we're not in COVID, every class has PE. And then during our recess, we bring out equipment that they can socially interactive with as well. Balls, hula hoops, they play with the basketball hoops, soccer, goals, lots of fun, different ways that they can interact. In the classrooms, we also play literacy learning centers, and especially my forte, kindergarten and TK, we have the home centers, which always seems to be the center of choice when you do a graph for open house. You'll ask which center do they like the best, and it's usually the home center. In TK, we like to do our home center based on our themes from our big day. And in kindergarten, we do our home centers more around holidays. Like in February, we have a big post office center where they mail and they get to send each other letters through the post office. So lots of fun and the importance of play throughout our curriculum at Woodland.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle. So as Michelle shared, that importance of play, it's not just out at recess, it's in the classroom and really building on the love of learning, right? So the next slide that we have, speaking of love, is the love of reading. We are a TK2 campus, and the focus on reading, getting them prepared to send them up to Kaiser. We want them all to be readers by 3rd grade on grade level. And so this is a picture of our library media tech, Sarah. She's amazing. She does a lot of read alouds right now virtually, but she's in the classroom. And she wanted me to share with you a little bit about, let me find my notes here. She said, "Welcome to the library where books rule and kindness is king." And so she just is a lot of fun and engaging and really helping to build that love of reading. And as you can see, our library is chock full. We have books that are of high interest. And as we said, we're really looking to build books that also reflect the different cultures. So lots going on in the way of reading. You'll see I'm reading in the classroom. We have community helpers reading in the classroom. We have students outside reading, inside reading, reading there. John Schuffelbein, who is a leader in reading and also contributed to our frameworks in California, said there is no nobler act than to teach someone to read. I agree. So now we're gonna hear a little bit about how do we, Michelle talked a little bit about the idea of play, but what curriculum do we follow? And so next up we have Kelly, and Kelly Siegel has 28 years of teaching experience. Again, all of our teachers look so young, it's hard to believe they've been teaching that many years. She has 23 years at Woodland, and her children went to Woodland Elementary. So take it away, Kelly.
And by the way, we have really good filters on our Zoom, so you can't see my wrinkles. Welcome. Thank you for coming. I wanted to talk a little bit about our curriculum. The word Wonders is just the name of the publishing company that does our curriculum. So if somebody says, oh, we're working on our Wonder Friends, it's just a cute little way to, for us teachers and for people to know around the academic world what we're using for our curriculum. We also use SIPs, which you'll see the picture on, and there's a really long acronym for it, and I have it written down somewhere, but it's basically, it's differentiated instruction for teaching reading for kids. So each child gets in a group of other children that are right around their levels of reading, and we do a systematic approach to how to actually teach reading. And every child gets in a group and they all learn how to read amazingly. It's probably my favorite thing about teaching children, is teaching them how to read. We also have a writing program we have based on a data-driven curriculum called Right from the Beginning, and every teacher has been trained in how to use it. And we all have a systematic way of writing. We start out with just, in kindergarten, just drawing a picture. And then the next time we write, we maybe put an S for sun. And then the next time we write, maybe we put the word a sun. It's very systematic. We have Renaissance Learning, which is a reading program where the children get to pick books and then they answer some questions on a computer, comprehension questions. We have Lexia, which is an individualized program. It's at every child's level. They log on to a computer. In pre-COVID, they all have their own computers at their tables and they all have headsets on and they're all working at their own pace and their own levels. Right now during COVID, they're all doing it at home and they're actually having a really good time. They get certificates once a week for passing a level, and they all talk about what level are you on, and it's really fun. And the Acadience Learning is more of a indicator of where they're at academically. If they talk about beginning sounds of words, like the word is Lexia, the beginning sound is ul. They chunk words into parts, and it's a great program, great for teachers. All of us have been trained and retrained and trained and retrained and trained and trained again until we know it by heart. So we've got it down here at Woodland. We love it, and it's working. So welcome, and we hope to see you soon. And Miss Lambert touched on.
You want to talk at all about the Bridges program, Kelly? We talked a lot about
math. Yeah, Bridges is another fancy name for our math curriculum. It's just the name that's on the book. It's funny because we as teachers, we see, oh, Bridges, but parents have no idea what that means. Basically, it's just the name of the program that we use. So our Bridges math is amazing. It's based all on manipulatives. It's very developmental, starting in TK, kinder up to second grade. It is the best way that kids learn. It starts out slow and it works its way. And so kids can get the concepts down before you say, what's 5 + 2? Well, some kids will say 7. Some kids will say, well, I've got 5 fingers on this hand and I've got 2 more, 5, 6, 7. I can't even, I'm sorry, I'm bumbling. It's just a wonderful program. It's play-based, it's game-based, like Mrs. Lambright said. We play right now during COVID, it's Mrs. Siegel versus the kids, and they don't always win, which is heartbreaking for me, but it's also good for them to learn that, they can't always win. But today we played a game, adding numbers up to get a big number. And I beat my first group, but my second group beat me. So we have a really good time. Like I said, and like Mrs. Lambright said, all of the workplaces are game-based, and it gets the kids to talk about math and really immerse themselves in math. So I think that's it. So thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. No, that's perfect. And one of the things, we'll get into more specifics when we do our kindergarten roundup in the spring, where we'll talk real specifically, talk about ways that you can support your child at home. But I think, just having a little bit of an overview of what is happening. And as you can see, it's very developmentally appropriate. Even the calendar, they're doing all sorts of things in their calendar that's coming up with understanding patterns and making predictions and all sorts of great things. And it's amazing when you think about a K-2 campus and you see kids who are coming into school, and maybe some who don't know their letters and don't know their sounds. And then all of a sudden we're transitioning them on to Kaiser, and they're reading at grade level, and they're able to decode these more complex texts and be able to comprehend at high levels. So it's exciting. These first few years of school are so exciting. And whether your child is reading, some of our kids come in, they're already reading. Maybe they're reading at a first or a second grade level. They're engaged, they're motivated. And we continue to work with them at whatever level they're at. Or like I said, if they don't even know any of their letters, that's okay too. So we'll get more specific when we talk in the spring about how you can support your child at home. So the next thing I wanted to move on to is just the ideas, you know, that we know that kids are learning at different rates, and how do we support them? And so what Kelly just shared with you is the tier 1. So over in the triangle on the right-hand side, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but on the right-hand side of the screen, the blue tier 1 research-based core instruction. So that's what Kelly was just sharing with you, what we're using in our English language arts program, as well as our math program. Multi-tiered systems of support, what that means is that we are looking at how do we support our children academically, how do we support and help them with their behavior and their social emotional needs. And we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But how do we make sure all kids are successful? So as I was referring to, we have this tier 1. That's what's happening in the classroom, and the teachers are doing that with all students. And then we have most of the kids, 80% or so of the students, are going to get everything from just that work that they're doing at the tier 1 level. But there are going to be some students who need a little bit of additional help, a little more support. And so that's where we get into targeted intervention, and that's the tier 2 level. And there it might be the classroom teacher that's providing support. But one of the things that we're really excited about is our differentiated reading block. And we just started it. And in fact, we're doing on our campus, we're actually a pilot for the district. And you can see, this is current pictures of what's happening. We didn't let COVID stop us from providing this reading block. But what happens for this 30 minutes in the first and second grade classrooms is the teachers are teaching differentiated reading. So the students that are pulled out for some specific help aren't going to miss any core instruction. And then this is an example of, like, they go into another classroom and they get some very specific support, and they're using that targeted prescriptive program that Kelly was talking about, our SIPS program, which is really focused on those decoding skills. And then for those students that, you know, we've done the tier 1, we've done this also, these differentiated reading block, we've given them some extra help. There are maybe 5% or so of students that still need some additional support. And so we would have like a student study team meeting where we have our school psychologist, our special education teacher, our regular classroom teachers, and myself. We'd be in a meeting, whether it's Zoom or whether it's in person, and we talk about what is the child responding to, how is that going, what can we do differently, and do we need to assess and provide something a little bit more. And so that just talks about this multi-tiered system of support, because when we transition them on to Dr. Granger at Kaiser, we want to make sure that they have everything they need. So that's what it looks like. So we talked a little bit about not just the academics, but behavior and emotional learning. So our social emotional learning wheel that's up in the right-hand corner here, and sorry, it turned out a little blurry as I see it on my screen. The middle just says social and emotional learning. And there are several areas when we think about social emotional learning. We're talking about how do students manage themselves, that self-management. What do they need to do? Responsible decision-making, relationship skills. You know, we showed you some pictures of them playing on the field. We've got lots of support staff out there for our students who are struggling. We may have some facilitated kinds of play activities. How do they build relationships with others? What do they need to do? Social awareness, what's appropriate, what's not. Whoa, that was interesting. Is that expected or unexpected? And helping them to understand that. and helping with some self-awareness. The rings around the circle, we talk about the classrooms being important, what's happening in the classroom. School-wide, how are we making sure that we have school-wide expectations that are clear and understood? And we don't want one classroom doing one thing and another classroom doing something completely different. We want it to be a nice transition from classroom to classroom, no matter where they are on campus. We use the same vocabulary. And that really is all about what our PBIS training has been in, and that's the positive behavioral intervention supports. And then of course we want to make sure that you at home know what we're teaching and how we're doing that, so you can partner and support those kinds of things at home. In the classroom, what kind of curriculum are we using? What kind of school-wide practices do we have as a whole? And then how can we partner with our community? So one of the things that we have on here is second step, and those are little social stories that the teachers are able to teach and have the kids respond to. And then this is where Carol was like, do I talk about John Wooden yet? Not yet, Carol, it's coming up. And here it is, Carol, talk about John Wooden.
Okay, so people who know me, I am very passionate about this. This is our character education program. It's written by Coach John Wooden of UCLA, and he wrote this book that we all read, Inch and Miles: The Journey to Success. And he co-authored it with a gal by the name of Peanut Louie Harper. And we were very fortunate about 15 years ago to meet up with Peanut and her husband, Tim Harper. And for the last 15 years, they've been visiting our school every year. They've been sharing with us, encouraging us to be our best. And the Pyramid of Success is 14 building blocks of essential character traits that we want to see in our kids, but that you want to see in your friends, in your mate, in your colleagues. Their friendship and loyalty, confidence, hard work, cooperation, enthusiasm, all these things that we want to give kids at a young age. And we have seen over the years, we've seen our kids learn through the building blocks and the pyramid of success. And we see it, it's not just we read stories, it becomes part of them. It becomes their language, in their writing. We see it at home, we see it in sports. We'll have kids come in and say, oh my gosh, I saw somebody really showing loyalty at recess. It becomes part of them. And it's something that will stay. It's something that all of us teachers teach. We all have libraries of our own, very diverse libraries in our own classrooms that we pull from. But like I said, not only is it just reading, but it's acting out. It's through them. It's through their core, and we see it. We see it go on. And when they leave here, it's their foundation of what good character traits look like, and what to do. And at the bottom of this the building blocks, it says, if I can read that, it says, success is happiness in your heart because you made the effort 100% to do your best. And that's what it is. And we teach that every day. As you've heard from other teachers, we have kids high and low and medium, and if we're trying our best, that's success. And you'll see the murals of each building block all around our school. Again, it becomes part of them. They are surrounded by these on the playground. We have Coach Wooden's maxims written on all our walls, all throughout the school. Make each day your masterpiece. Failure to prepare is preparing to fail. it's through us, and we want, you know, we're a K-2 school, so we want our kids to feel safe, to be themselves, to make great friends, to appreciate our differences, to problem solve, and to be kind and show empathy. And that's what we get from our teachers and Coach Wooden, and you can just feel it. So that's, you can tell I like this a little bit. I mean, it is part of all of us. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Carol. And definitely, as she's sharing, if you like, I'm looking over self-management, self-control, you can see that it really ties into the areas that we're focused on. And the other thing, it's not only the teaching, but it's very intentional. And it's also recognizing that in students. When you see, you know, Carol mentioned the students coming in and saying and sharing, hey, so-and-so was being loyal out on the playground by doing such and such. And so we have these little duplicate awards that are also just when the teachers or any staff member see some of these things being shown, the kids get one copy that goes into a drawing, and then the other copy gets to go home. And then there's recognition at Flag Deck for students who are excelling in this area, and examples are made of that kind of behavior, very specific and intentional. Now, one of the new things that we're doing this year is also we're looking at Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence came out with a program called Ruler. And this is all about, first of all, understanding your emotions and regulating it. And I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl Roberts, who has been teaching for 27 years, 14 of those years at Woodland. And she and Stephanie get the prize. She's got 3 students that have gone through Woodland Elementary. So I'll turn it over to Cheryl. Cheryl, go ahead.
Yes, I do love Woodland. It's a special place, that's for sure. So Ruler is an evidence-based approach to helping students to identify and regulate emotions. And it ties in well with the PBIS. So basically, Ruler stands for 6 emotion skills, as you can see the acronym on the screen. So the R is recognizing emotions in oneself and others. The U stands for understanding the causes and consequences of emotions in oneself and others. The L is for labeling emotions with accurate words. E is for expressing emotions differently depending on the context and the situation. And then R would be regulating emotions with effective strategies and supporting others in their regulation of emotions. And what's pretty neat and unique to Ruler is we'll be using a tool called a mood meter, and students will be trained to identify how they're feeling on the mood meter, and then kind of being able to reflect on what they could do to maybe move to a certain feeling or mood where they could be more successful in class at the time, how they can regulate that. And then Woodland is piloting the implementation of Ruler. And I'm part of the Ruler team made up of Dr. Nagy, Allison Ramos, and our school psychologist. And we recently completed a 6-week training through the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence. It was an amazing training, and looking forward to training the staff and on this program. So it is an ongoing professional development where the Ruler team will be training the staff on Ruler with the support from the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence. So that's a little bit of a snippet on Ruler.
There's lots to say about our social emotional learning and how we're growing in that, and how the district is really supported. So through a variety of programs, and as I shared earlier, if a student doesn't feel safe at school, if we understand that these skills are just as important: getting along with one another, and feeling good about being at school and being able to regulate those behaviors. One position that's just newly added in Newport Mesa is a behavior specialist that will be helping us, as well as our school psychologists and the other 2 teachers on the team. Now, you may look at this crazy hair day and wonder, how does this all fit in, right? Well, it's knowing that we're part of a school community and that we like to have fun together. So lots of spirit days where we celebrate as a school community. So that's why we included that. The next slide is about the arts. And I think this is also something that's really unique in Newport Mesa. You know, a lot of the schools, especially when there have been financial, you know, where we've had to make cuts financially, school districts have let go of the arts. And both our district, our school board, and our wonderful PFO and foundation, they have been supporting the arts. So I'm going to turn this one over to Stephanie Baldakowski, and her children also, 3 of them, through Woodland. She has 25 years of experience, and she's not sure if it's been 15 or 16 years here at Woodland, but 25 years of teaching experience. So take it away, Stephanie.
Yes, I wish they had this forum when I was looking to put my daughter in the school. That's how I got the job here. I lived 3/10 of a mile away, and she was about 3 years old. And I said, "Where is this Woodland school? It's so tucked away. I didn't even know it was here." And then I said, "How am I going to send her to a school I know nothing about?" So I said, "I'm going to get a job there." So then I put in for a transfer, and I got to check it out before I put my precious baby here. And it was the best decision I made. And all 3 of my kids have gone through the school. So I'm glad this is here for you guys. The arts at Woodland are super important. And if you were to walk through our classrooms at any time, you would see a plethora of art on all the walls. We are a K2 school, or TK2 school, and we love art. We love to incorporate it across all the curriculum areas. We are lucky, as Dr. Nagy said, in this district to have music, a certificated music teacher every 2 weeks giving 40-minute instruction to 1 class at a time. And during these classes, she's often preparing us for performances where the students at Woodland get to perform 2 times a year up on stage in front of their classmates and also in front of parents. It's a great opportunity that they have. In the past, we've also done 2nd grade line dancing, where once they hit 2nd grade, they get to participate in a line dancing lesson with our music teacher, who's good at music and dance. For performing arts, we also have hip hop dance, which is out on the playground, and different classes go out at different times and learn different routines and basically have a blast, kind of an extra PE time, but it's incorporated into hip hop dance. We have awesome assemblies here at Woodland. Here's one of them that you're looking at on the screen. Kids are often actively engaged. Some of our favorites are Razzle Bam Boom, and it's all different types of music and getting the kids actively participating. Imagination Machine, which is teaching our kids to be awesome creative writers while they're acting out the stories that our kids write. One of my all-time favorites. And then we have the visual arts. Not only do the teachers do art probably each week, we all love art, but we have Art Masters, which is every other month. And we have an art teacher that comes in and typically teaches those lessons for us. And we learn about a famous artist, and then we use different techniques that artist used in their work to create our own masterpiece. And then I could go on and on. I'll say a couple more. We have recess art, which is something the kids love, put on by our fabulous PFO. And they come out, it might be every month or every other month, I'm not sure. And instead of playing at lunch recess, they have the choice. They can either go play or they can sit down and do a really cool art project. It might be decorating a pumpkin or doing scratch art or using oil pastels, but just another chance for our kids to do art here at Woodland. So if you choose to come to Woodland, you'll find that it is a very art-filled school. And I am so glad that all 3 of my kids came here.
Thank you, Stephanie. So as she said, it's integrated within the curriculum. Teachers are, using art and music. You often hear the kids singing, especially when it comes to those beginning phonemic awareness songs and things like that. But also that dedicated every other week, 40 minutes of music instruction by a certificated music teacher. That's really unique to our district. We're going to move on now to extracurricular and enrichment opportunities. And Kelly, who you heard from earlier, is going to talk to this one.
Hi, it's me again. Yes, on this screen, you'll see Miss Vincent. She may or may not be here in the audience tonight. She is one of our school technology fellows, and she actually has taught all of the teachers how to teach the kids with robots. And it was the best part of my students. I mean, I hate to say that it was by somebody else, but my kids loved the robot lessons that Miss Vincent would teach us, and then she would teach me, and then I would try and teach the kids. So it's basically coding. They code for this little robot. Another activity we do are field trips. This one up here at the top right was at the Centennial Farm. Our PFO is amazing and funds all of our field trips. We also go to the Aquarium of the Pacific in first grade. They go to the Shipley Nature Center in Huntington Beach, the ENC here in Costa Mesa, Newport area. Talking about the arts, we do the Laguna Playhouse Theater they get to go to. And the other fun extracurricular activities that we love is the Jogathon. That's the picture that's in the bottom middle. Our PFO puts on an incredible Jogathon. We raise tons and tons of money. The kids have so much fun. You'd never know that they were running for 20 minutes and they don't even know it. They don't even know what they're doing because it's so much fun. We have music blaring. We have parent volunteers squirting them with squirt guns and spray bottles, and they get to have some oranges and fruit after. It's a kind of a big deal at our school, having our Jogathon. And then we also have after school classes brought to us by the PFO. They organize all of there's a ceramics class, a drawing class, cooking class, chemistry class. There's a Lego class, a drama class, and it's after school, and the kids just stay after school for about an hour after, and just have a great time. So we have a lot of fun here at Woodland. So that's it.
Thank you, Kelly. And speaking of enrichment, let's talk about STEM. And I'm going to hand it over to Allison Ramos. She's taught 11 years, and 4 of them have been here at Woodland. So Allison Ramos, take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Nagy. Yes, so here at Woodland, we are so lucky to have a STEM program, which is provided from our We Love STEM Foundation. And STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. During a traditional school year, each class has 8 40-minute classes in our dedicated science lab with a STEM teacher. And this year, the foundation is providing an online tool with Generation Genius, and there's a dancing scientist who's going to be providing lessons that are engaging through song and video with hands-on activities. And the foundation also provides us with assemblies such as the Discovery Cube, and you can see that big bubble there. That was one of those from last year, and I think the worms is the one with the dirt. So those are really fun assemblies provided from the foundation. And we feel so fortunate to have the We Love STEM Foundation to provide that. And in addition to STEM, we also have a dedicated science teacher as well that provides science instruction for our students every other week. And that's also in that dedicated lab. And that's a 40-minute session as well. So they get STEM and they get science. So we have a lot of the sciences here at Woodland.
Thank you. All right, on to technology. So we're going to let Melissa Guerin, she's brand new to Woodland. It's her first year, but 19 years of teaching. So take it away, Melissa.
Hi, thanks, Dr. Nagy. So I'm new to Woodland, but I have been around the Kaiser Woodland community for a long time. My mom taught at Kaiser for 35 years, so I know what a wonderful place it is to be. And having taught at other schools and now coming to Woodland, it's pretty amazing. You definitely want to come here. So in terms of technology, we have all the tech at our school. Every classroom has a projector and a document camera for projecting student work and lessons. on our whiteboards so the children can see. And Newport Mesa had a district-wide initiative to get Chromebooks in the hands of children. So we have a one-to-one program happening right now at Woodland. So all students have a Chromebook. Our classrooms have iPads that the students use for their learning in the classroom. We have multiple computer software programs that we use to support our core curriculum, like our Wonders online learning site that students use and teachers use as well. That's an example. And our professional development is provided through the district. We have an amazing ed tech team that gives up-to-date, like cutting-edge technology resources and professional development to our teachers so that we have the best tech use to teach your students with, and also to support our teaching. And they also support parents as well using the core curriculum websites. We also have an amazing IT department who has been supporting our families during COVID with their Chromebook use. So shout out to them because they have been keeping us afloat. We have a new user platform that is ClassLink, and it is designed to give students and families at home the best user experience when interacting with our websites. So your child will learn how to log on by themselves and have access to all the apps, the programs, everything that their teacher wants them to use with ease. And we're finding that we're having great success with ClassLink. We also use multiple platforms for our learning. We have Seesaw, which is what a lot of the kindergarten teachers are using this year to interact with their students at home during our COVID learning, but we also use it during regular school time as well. And then Google Classroom, and our science and music teachers use Schoology. So lots of different platforms that we are using, but ClassLink allows us to have one login, so you don't have to keep going back and forth from different websites and logging in all the time, because that would be a headache. So the kids are learning to use technology, as well as our balanced approach in the classroom with hands-on activities. And we think that it's really important to have these skills taught so that our children can go into the future with their tech skills and learning it right now in our classrooms. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. So one thing that you've probably picked up already without me having to even talk about this is we have some very highly qualified, experienced staff members, not just in our teaching staff, but also in our instructional staff as well. We have a lot of ongoing professional development. These teachers are a great reflection of the teachers here on our campus. So I'm super proud of all of them for sharing today, and you've had a little taste of what you'll get in the staff here at Woodland. But just wanted to let you know, we have almost 62% of our teachers that have their master's degree. You will not find that in a private school. The experience and the qualifications, high qualifications. And then what I think is also really interesting is 20% of our teachers, this is a second career. So they've had opportunities to work in the business field, the tech field, advertising, a variety of different things. So I can't share all of it, and I realize that we're getting short on time, but I did want to just have Cheryl Roberts one more talk to you. She's up in the picture at the top, and she's participating in some additional professional development, because not only do we have the traditional master's degree, bachelor's degree, those kinds of things, but we have some pretty intense staff development as part of our district. And I wanted Cheryl to talk about her experience as a digital fellow and now coach. So Cheryl. Oh, you're on mute.
I know, I had to mute myself. All right, so the pictures there were taken at a digital learning day. So the district provides a lot of staff development for teachers to continue their learning with technology and other ways as well. I am a digital fellow, and so that program, the Digital Fellow Program, basically had a goal, or has a goal, is to train teachers in the use of educational technology so that we will then share that knowledge with the staff and to continue to support the staff in educational technology. So in a way to advance like the learning process, the digital fellows are assigned a tech mentor from the ed tech department. and they provide an ongoing training. So I would meet with a EdTech mentor twice a month, and she would also come into my room, teach alongside me, model the latest and greatest of technology, so that I, as a digital fellow, would then share it with the teachers at our staff. And so this is a great program. I've gone to the CUE conference, which is computer using educators. And I know a lot of other teachers on staff as well through the Digital Fellow program. And I just can't speak, can't say enough about it, how much the support has helped me to grow in the use of educational technology, but also being able to support the staff, which was really amazing when we did go on remote learning. I know Lucia Vincent was a digital fellow and coach at the time too, and she's been through the program, and we were able to support teachers with Seesaw or other technology platforms. So it's a great program. I think for the past 4 or 5 years, we've had a digital fellow on staff. So it's 2 years with digital fellow, and I think 2 years as a coach as well. So that one picture previously, you saw Lucia with the Dash robots in the role of the digital coach, I think it was, or digital fellow. She was providing support for teachers, demonstrating to classes the Dash robot, and that's part of the digital fellow program. So our district does a lot to support staff and students in educational technology.
And just in professional development, and I can't go into all the details because we're running out of time, but we have also a math fellow program that's very similar. But we'll move on because we're running out of time. But one of the things that also sets us aside from many of the private schools, as I mentioned earlier, is the volunteers, encouraging volunteers to get involved on campus and off campus. And so here you'll just see lots of different ways that you as parents can get involved. We've of course got our family fun night where you're building relationships with other families and getting to know them. So just a few examples here: the sweetheart dance, skate night, movie night, and the carnival, but also being part of helping with decisions like on school site council, and as part of our ELAC advisory committee for students or parents who have students learning English as their second language. But volunteer, and I know I was just talking with, I can't remember, I think it was Carol, I think she and I were talking about how many volunteers are in the classroom helping all the time, and we really encourage that partnership. So I'm going to skip over this. We'll go more specifically in depth when we do our roundup, but just the fact that there are things that we're going to do as a staff, the things that we look for your partnership on, and then the student responsibilities. But the community support that we get from our Kaiser Woodland PFO, our We Love STEM Foundation, and also the community in general through Donors Choose and through our Schools Foundation. I asked the staff have you ever written a grant and did you get one? And 71.4% of our staff have written grants, and many of them have written multiple grants. So we appreciate all of that. So as I wrap it up, and we're rounding out to, sorry, I ran over. Together we can. We believe that by learning and working together, our students can become lifelong learners who possess the ability to be thoughtful problem solvers and responsible citizens. And I want to turn it over now to Alyssa, who's going to give a little parent perspective.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Alyssa. I have a daughter who is in first grade. She's in Mrs. Gaylord's class. She's joined us tonight. I also have and she was in Mrs. Siegel's class last year, so Mrs. Siegel's on here too. I have a son who will be in TK next year, and then a younger daughter who will be in TK 2 years after that. So many more years at Woodland for me. This year, I am the room parent coordinator. So what that means is I'm the room parent for Mrs. Gaylord's class. help her however, whatever she needs. But I also am on the PFO, and I attend all of the board meetings and take any information there and share that with our network of room parents so they can update their classes on upcoming events or deadlines or any news. One question we got before tonight was, are there room parents? How do you volunteer? How do you become involved? And so the answer is yes, there are room parents, and there's many opportunities, as you saw, to be involved at Woodland. Obviously, this year is a little bit different, but last year, for example, Mrs. Siegel would always send out a calendar before each month, and you could fill in which days you would want to come and help in the classroom if that's something you wanted to do. I always loved being able to go to school and go in the class and see their morning routines and what they're working on, what projects they're doing, what they're learning, how they're learning. Just to even see my daughter with her friends and raise her hand and answer questions, it's really special. I also loved being able to meet the other students, know them by their name, see them around campus. So really, I recommend volunteering if you can. It's wonderful, and not just in the classroom, but like Dr. Nagy was just saying, there's so many opportunities, whether you want to come and help at recess art or with enrichment classes. The Dine and Dance at the beginning of the year, you can meet all other Kaiser Woodland parents, the Sweetheart Dance, the movie nights, the skate nights that we have once a month usually, the carnival in the spring. So the school and the PFO does put a lot of events together to bring our families together. And that's one thing I really wanted to say is when people ask me, what do you like about Woodland? It's the community, and it is all the families we have here from a parent side. Everyone is so kind and welcoming, and they've been so helpful. We've met really great friends just being here 2 years, less than 2 years. And not only do we see them at school, but we have play dates, go to the beach, sign up for camps, sports. So it's a really tight-knit community. It's very special. And then, of course, look at all these wonderful teachers. So, and like I said, 2 of them my daughter had last year and has this year. The education is wonderful. My daughter is progressing so much with her reading, her writing, her math, but not just that, like we talked about, she loves her science class and bringing home wonderful artwork through the Art Masters program. So we couldn't be more pleased with the education, but also the community that we have here at Woodland is really special. So that's enough from me. I think Abby's gonna talk next.
Hello. Okay, my name is Avelyn Janes, more like Abby. I think most of the teachers know me. I've been part of Woodland since 2012. My first son, Elgar, everybody know him. So what can I do about Woodland? So as an Hispanic mom, as a mom of English learning, I can say that Woodland is a great school of opportunities for you kids. So what you're gonna find on Woodland, if you decide to choose that as your school, you will find a great staff, great teacher, great environmental, and great opportunities, for you and your kids. Woodland is a great school to learn. My kids, they was like kind of as a English students again, and they not anymore. I mean, the first one classified as in 3rd grade, and the second one, who is in 2nd grade, he's already reclassified as a not English learning anymore. And this is because, the teachers do their best, and, he's learning a lot. He started like TK, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade, not only just having, great opportunities for him and, my family. The community, it's great, they're like, have like a lot like Hispanics and other, from other countries, and everyone is welcome there. So it's, what can I say for Woodland? Just like great things and great stuff again. So great school. So that's, if you decide to choose Woodland, it's just like welcome, to the community.
Awesome. And my name's Drew Sandin. I have 2 students who have gone through, a daughter who's in 4th grade, and then a son who's in 2nd, Miss Baldacosky's class right now. So I have 7 years, I think, combined years at Woodland between my two kids. I will say I've learned a ton tonight, actually. I feel like my wife's far more engaged than I am on the daily. I'm glad I was asked to be here tonight anyway. I would just say first off that it's just a great education. I mean, I've been blown away at the level of education they've gotten and just the engagement of the teachers. I mean, 3 of my son's teachers are on this call tonight at 8 o'clock on, a Tuesday night, which is telling at that point as well too. So, and I think I would echo what Abby and Alyssa said. And frankly, the community is really special. I mean, I don't really know how to explain it, but we see all these families. I've been pleasantly surprised at how the relationships that the kids have made have expanded beyond even the classroom. So, I coach a lot of the kids in sports now, and we see all the parents. And it's just been really neat to see how those relationships have developed for the children, and also the parents as well too, which has been kind of surprising and a pleasant surprise for my wife as well. And I would say, lastly, just having the school split, so the TK through 2nd and then 3rd through 6th has been really special as well too, because I feel like it has allowed our children at least to develop at a healthier pace, I think, because the maturity level between a TKer and a 6th grader is vastly different. And so it's just created a far less intimidating environment, especially for one of my kids is on the shyer side. I think he's been able to kind of assimilate into the community a lot easier. So yeah, so that's it, but I'll turn it over to Sarah.
Okay. And actually, Sarah, can I just say, based on what Drew was just talking about that transition, we do have Dr. Granger, our amazing, fabulous Kaiser principal here with us. And we do work hard to seamlessly transition the students so it doesn't feel like such a big shift. Deb, do you want to just talk quickly a couple minutes about that transition?
I will do it in less than a couple of minutes.
Oh, thanks, Deb.
So we are super excited. You know that when students go to Woodland, they are dragons, and then they graduate up after they finish 2nd grade and they become knights. So we have the knights and the dragons, and we're super lucky. This very unique configuration that our 2 schools have allows us to build on what students have developed through 2nd grade. And we have this special day, and who knows, we might get to do it this year. We're waiting to see how things shake out with COVID, where our graduating 2nd graders have a big field trip where they walk across 21st Street and they come on over to Kaiser. Our student council representatives take them on a tour of school. And of course, Dr. Nagy and I, wearing our royal attire, have the opportunity to knight our incoming Kaiser students. And I will say that parents often are much more nervous about the transition than their students are. Although our campus is physically large, it was a middle school at one point in time, the 3rd graders are in their own little zone, and they figure out campus in about 10 minutes. And the parents are the ones who are like, I don't know where anything is. So it's really not as scary as it seems. There is logic to the layout of things. And as Dr. Nagy was saying, the programs that students begin with at Woodland carry over when students move up to Kaiser. And there are some new pieces that are added on, of course. And some of the big changes are things like, instead of focusing on learning how to read, the focus more is on using your reading in order to learn. That's probably one of the biggest differences when students come up to the big school. And I was excited. I was looking at the participants this evening, and I'm super excited to see some of our Kaiser parents here. And I hope that you'll talk up Woodland and Kaiser, because one of the things that I've discovered, this is my 9th year at Kaiser Elementary, is that our schools are large. We are some of the larger elementary schools in the district. And in spite of that, our families are super involved, or maybe because of that, our families are extremely involved, and we do provide their children with meaningful personal experiences. And so you don't get lost in the crowd or swept away. So I look forward to meeting you after you join up with all the good folks over at Woodland, and our schools are special. So welcome. Thank you.
And on behalf of our Kaiser Woodland PFO and this amazing community, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We know we took more of your time than we anticipated, but thank you for sticking with us. There is so much to share about Woodland, about Kaiser as well. If you want to stick around, we will go through a couple of the questions that have come in that warrant a longer response than was typed in to the Q&A box. If you need to go and rush kids to bed, you're welcome to do that. As mentioned in the chat, we will post a recording of tonight's session on our Kaiser Woodland PFO website later this week. And we'll also have a Q&A document. So the questions that came in, we'll gather and organize and make sure that we post answers on the Kaiser Woodland PFO website. If you registered through the Eventbrite, then you'll receive an email directing you where to go when the recording is posted. So if you can hang out for a couple more minutes and want to listen to the questions, you're absolutely welcome to. If you need to go, please go. But thank you so much for spending your Tuesday, January 19th with us. And yes, we hope to see you at Woodland next year. So take care. All right, and for those who are sticking around, Woodland team, we've got a question here that definitely warrants conversation. And I'll share the question, and then whoever wants to respond can respond. The question is, how do you differentiate reading instruction in kindergarten? What do you do with incoming kinder students who already read? Who wants to take that one?
Well, I can start with, and then I'll let Kelly or one of the other kindergarten teachers, but just the idea of really working to differentiate the curriculum. We know that there are going to be students that are coming in, but there are always skills to be working on. And we have a lot of our programs are more not necessarily self-directed, but certainly offer up that independence. The Lexia program Kelly spoke to, once the students are reading, we're able to get them into the reading AR books and taking comprehension quizzes and just continuing to grow their skills. There's still a lot to learn. And one of the things that we also know is that sometimes kids have a lot of skills. They've memorized words, and we still want to teach them those decoding skills, because when they get to words that maybe they haven't heard before, it's important for them to know how to decode them, so that it's not just by memorization, but they're learning those important decoding skills. So when they get to those multi-syllabic words, those long words, they know how to decode them. But Kelly, I saw that you were wanting to share too. Go ahead, Kelly.
Yes, you said exactly what I was going to say too, is we get kids coming at all different levels. Some come in reading, some come in not reading. With the AR, Accelerated Reader, we also use the SIPS program, the reading program, where we're working with a small group of kids while the rest of the class is doing learning center activities. They're either doing a writing center, they're working in the home center, or they're doing the listening center, or they're working on Lexia. So there's a whole bunch of activities that we do, and we pull the kids, 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 groups at a time, depending on their levels. And then we just kind of rotate through the classroom. So it's a little more difficult with COVID because they can't play as much, like independent. They're more independent right now. So, but yes, we definitely work with kids at all levels, and it works.
Excellent. Okay, I'm going to toss you one more question, and then I think we can close and let you all go to bed because you have an early morning tomorrow. How many kindergarten classes are there, and what is typical student-teacher ratio? Maybe we could do in a normal year and in a COVID year.
Mm-hmm. So, of course, it all depends. So I would say a typical ratio is about 24 to 28, 29, wouldn't you say, kinder teachers? No, Kelly, what do you think?
Well, we've had about 7 years ago, we had 27, but it hasn't been more than 24 in the last 6 years or so. And right now we're at 21, 22 per class, and we have 4 full classes and then the TKK class. So it's like 4.5 right now, but it's typically between 6 and 8. Last year we had, I think, 8.5 kinder classes. So,
and we are so fortunate in this district because our numbers are a lot lower than many of the surrounding districts as far as our kinder numbers. So we do keep them smaller.
Okay. Well, I don't see any other questions coming through our Q&A feature. I don't see anything else in the chat. So for those of you who are still with us, thank you again so much. And just a big shout out to Dr. Nagy, Dr. Granger, all of our wonderful Woodland teachers, our parents who showed up tonight to speak about their experiences. It really is just a tremendous, incredible community. So everyone have a great evening and we'll see you online soon. Bye.